Chapter 55, Kindness to Neighbors. Bab al-Wusat bil-Jar. Rasulullah gave a lot of importance to looking out for the neighbor. The hadith narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha, the Nabi said, Sayyidina Jibreel, continued advising me about the rights I owed to a neighbor until I thought he would make him an heir of mine, that this neighbor of mine would receive inheritance from me. Meaning, like obviously only your family members receive inheritance from you, unless you've bequeathed a certain amount go to an Islamic organization or a trust or a charitable cause. But generally, your family members, they have their established shares of inheritance that they're supposed to receive. But Jibreel alayhi salam continued advising the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the rights he owed to a neighbor until Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam began to actually feel that he would make him an heir. Another hadith narrated by Sayyidina Abu Shuraih al-Khuza'i radiyallahu anh, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should be good to his neighbor. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليحسن إلى جاره ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should show hospitality to his guest. ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Very, 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 very important for us to focus on the entire hadith, all three parts. The first part, whoever claims to be a true believer in Allah and the last day should look out for his neighbor, should be good to his neighbor. Okay, not, well, I've got a roof over my head, I'm comfortable, I've got all these things going for me. Neighbor, that's their luck. They should have worked harder. They should have acquired an education so they could provide for their family, or they could have a heated garage, or they could have a snow blower that could clear their driveway within minutes. Well, I worked hard in my days, so now I'm relaxing. No. فَلْيُحْسِنْ إِلَى جَارِهِ. Be good to your neighbor. Like that. وَمَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. The second part of the hadith should show hospitality to his guest. We have guests coming over. Inshallah, this Friday in Red Deer we'll be speaking about etiquettes of hosting and of being a guest. But there's so much that we can learn from the treasure that is the Sunnah of Rasulullah and the teachings of the Salaf of how to be a good host and how to be a good guest. Right? So part of belief in Allah and the Messenger, in Allah and the last day. So part of your responsibilities as a Muslim is to look out for your fellow human being, which could be a neighbor, could be a guest that you're hosting. Islam isn't just that we worship. Worshipping is great in itself. The fara'id, the sunan, the wajib, the nawafil, all of that is great. It's very, very important. But it is also to have empathy for your fellow human. Show hospitality to the guest. And the last part, which in our era, we really need to understand this because of social media and being able to communicate and say things which we wouldn't otherwise in our normal day-to-day lives. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak what is good or remain silent. Say something which you won't feel regret about later on. You won't feel, man, why did I say that? And sometimes the nafs is such that when the nafs becomes so polluted by the dunya and by running after the dunya and by the facade of being around people who aren't fortunate to have islah, is that the nafs doesn't feel anything afterwards, becomes completely indifferent to swearing or listening to swear words or engaging in backbiting or engaging in gossip or engaging in anything which is futile and useless. It's like sometimes, a person is going to bed, and before they go into bed, they can't sleep because they're thinking, man, why did I say that to that person after, at Isha when I was in masjid, I said something to somebody, something as simple or as easy to justify as telling somebody, why didn't you put your shoes on the rack, right? If you say it in a way where that person will get offended, sometimes it bites back on your nafs and your conscience is like, man, what if I offended that person? What if I ruined that person's day? I should have been a more cheerful, nicer person. So whoever believes in Allah and the last day should say what is good. Otherwise, remain silent. You're not going to lose anything by remaining silent. Just think of what you speak. And I had mentioned this before to one of our ustads who taught us Shama'il. He was so particular on his choice of words that you could actually, you could see him being precise with the words that he's choosing when he's speaking. Whether it was Arabic, whether it was Urdu, whether it was English, any language that he would converse to a student or to a fellow teacher or to somebody asking him a question, he would be very particular about his choice of words, because the choice of words, it speaks a lot about the emotion that we want to express. So speak what is good or remain silent. That applies to texting or messaging or anything. Even passing comments to ourselves or to those who are around us. You see something happening by the bus stop and you're driving and you say something. That could be recorded against you, that could be written against your record on the Day of Judgment. That why was it, how was it any of your business that the person at the bus stop, they dressed a certain way? Why did you have to poison your tongue, blacken your tongue by saying that, don't these people know any better? Why are they dressing like that? How come they have ripped jeans? They're not hobos, they're not on the street. Like that, things like that, like this is the learning point for myself and for everybody, that we either say something good or we remain silent.